Hey everybody, welcome back to Rocky Mountain Homestead. My name is Angela. If you're new, I'm so glad you guys are here today. We are going to get right into this video, and I promised you guys that I was going to be showing you how to use the dry mixes that we just did last night. So it's the next day, and I was going to do this a little bit later in the evening, but anyway, I just came back from down the hill. My daughter wanted her ears pierced for her birthday, September 5th, and we have not had the time to make it down there. So I brought her down today. She got her ears pierced. It's a little bit past dinner time. Hold on. Sorry about that. The dogs all have to go potty at the same time. Anyway, it's a little bit past dinner time. So I threw the all recipe, the zesty barbecue chicken. I threw that in the Instant Pot, and I'm like, you know what? We usually do cornbread with that. So I'm going to start this video off by sharing that cornbread. Then I'm going to get the dinner mess cleaned up, get kids settled for the night, and we will do the rest of the dry mixes, and I'm going to take you guys along and share how to make those. But first, let's start with the cornbread. All right, you guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is I double mine because of our size family, which the doubled amount usually makes a 13 by 9, or this isn't too hot yet, I have it preheating, or I use one of these cast irons and I just cook it in this. So I feel it's much simpler to just bake it in this. So I usually just cook it in this, in the cast iron, and it works great. So what I have this set to right now is about medium-low heat, and what you're going to want to do is just get this butter melted. So I have 1 cup of salted butter, and I just preheated my oven to 375 degrees. So while that's melting, what I have here is 2 cups of buttermilk. I just put 2 tablespoons of vinegar in and 2 cups of milk to make that buttermilk. And then we're going to get our dry mix seasoning. All right, and now that our butter is melting pretty much almost all the way, I'm going to shut that heat just because this is cast iron and that will stay warm for quite some time. So I'm going to cut the heat on that. And then over here I have 4 eggs that I just washed. So I'm going to be adding in 4 eggs to this. And just to bring you a little bit closer so you can see a little bit better, I'm going to crack the eggs in. Actually, I do this in a separate dish just because this is so hot. I don't want to scramble my eggs. So we're going to break up 4 eggs. And then I'll share with you down in the description box, just like the other video, of if you don't want a whole 13 by 9 or a large cast iron like this, where you can just do an 8 by 8 of that, which is the next size down from this. So I'm going to grab my milk, my buttermilk over here. So we're going to put our 4 eggs in and give that a good mix. And to that, we're going to add in the 2 cups of buttermilk. I actually don't like this measuring cup because it usually spills a little bit if you're not fast enough. And then we're just going to whisk that together. So heat is off. And then once you have the milk and the egg mixed together, we're going to get our dry mix of cornbread. So I've got my cornbread mix from last night. Like I said, you can give it a little bit of a shake. You don't have to. And for the amount that I'm making, which is for a 13 by 9 or this large cast iron, I'm going to need 5 1/3 cups of our dry cornbread mix. So we're going to do the 1/3 first, and I'm making a mess. So there's the 1/3, and then we're going to do our 5 cups. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. And then to that, I am just going to take this whisk and get it all mixed up and blended together. So if you have, I don't know the exact size of this cast iron. I'm going to throw it down in the description box below. I bought, my washer's off balance again. I bought this back in, I want to say 2017, 2018. I'll never forget it because it was a box that said, I knew what was coming in the mail, and there was a UPS driver, and they must have been training somebody because there was somebody in the passenger seat, and he assisted the other guy. So the box said 2-person lift, which I thought was funny. I have a little fly in here. Don't mind the fly traps. I do have some fly traps in my dining and kitchen area because somebody left the door open, and they're driving me nuts. Anyway, it said 2-person lift on the box, but I actually saw both the guys holding an end of this box as it was being walked up to my front porch, and I laughed so hard. And I walked outside and I was like, all right, oh great, my cast iron skillet's finally in, thanks guys. And they both looked at each other and they looked so embarrassed. I just laughed. I mean, it did say 2-person lift, so they didn't know what was in it, but when I said my cast iron skillet was in, yeah, they they were a little bit embarrassed. I need to fix my washer. Okay, so now that you got that perfectly blended together, you're going to want to put that in a 375-degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes. I honestly find that 32 minutes is the sweet spot for me. So I have a gas oven here. I have an electric oven here. They both do their own things. If you have a gas oven, it tends to cook it a lot quicker. Electric is about 32 minutes for me. So between 30 and 35 minutes, I'm going to get this in the oven as soon as it's preheated. Okay, the oven is preheated and I'm going to put this in for 32 minutes. Decided to go ahead and do the brownies. I can do that for a dessert for the family. I can't have them, but they can have them and they'll enjoy them, I'm sure. So what we're going to start with is 1 cup of melted salted butter, and this will make a 13 by 9. So I'm going to put that in the pan and I'm going to allow that to melt a little bit. Also, for the first time since 2017, had to go buy vanilla. I have not had to buy it forever. So I actually just made a couple of these. I have been out for a long time of my vanilla extract. A long time for me is like a month. So it takes a couple weeks for that to soak in, but I do have 2 more bottles, and I had a couple people ask how I make my homemade vanilla extract. So I'm also going to be sharing that as well in a video coming up here soon, because I did 4 of my bottles, but I have 2 more that I need to do, and they also make really great Christmas gifts. It's one of those that you can start making now and it'll be ready for Christmas time for somebody to enjoy. So I'm going to give that a few minutes to melt. Okay, now our butter is melted, so to this we are going to add 5 1/4 cup of our brownie mix. So let's measure this out. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's our 5, and then I don't know where my 1/4 cup is, so I have a 1/3. So I'm just going to try and measure this as close to a 1/4 as I can. And then to that, I'm going to be adding 4 eggs. So I just washed these up and I saved my eggshells for my chickens and ducks and turkeys. So I'm going to add in our 4 eggs as well. And then I'm going to wash my hands real quick. And then to that, well, actually I'm going to whisk that up a little bit first, if I have any more whisks left. I do. So I'm going to take this whisk and whisk this up. And then last I will add my vanilla extract. And I have my half tablespoon for that. So as soon as this is mixed together, actually I should probably remove it from the heat. Remove it from the heat. As soon as that is mixed in together, I'm going to be adding in 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. And then I'm going to mix that in to the mixture. I'm now going to spray a 13 by 9 and yeah, definitely take it off the heat. I actually usually just melt the butter in the microwave, honestly, and then pour it all in a bowl because this is hot and you don't want to like seize up your chocolate, kind of like what I just did. It's only because I'm doing a video, you guys. It would come out totally fine any other day, but I'm certain it will still turn out just fine. So I am just going to spread this around, and yeah, it kind of did seize up my chocolate a little bit. Oh well. And like I said, you can add chocolate chips to this. I'm actually not right now because I think this will be just fine the way it is, but usually I'll add in like a cup to 2 cups of chocolate chips, but I don't have a lot of chocolate chips anymore in bulk, so I'm gonna save those for the baking season. You're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. I don't think it looks too horrible, but it is a little bit set up from having it in that hot pot, but I think it'll be okay. I don't get a brownie, but the batter is delicious. And I totally seized up the chocolate. It'll be fine. It's super yummy. So I'm gonna let that preheat. We got our cornbread going. I'm gonna check on my chicken for our late night dinner, swap some laundry, and bring you back when these things are done and out of the oven. Okay, oven is preheated to 350 degrees. So these are going to go in the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes. Usually, this is my gas oven, so I'm going to put 35 minutes to start checking them. But usually in between, I always give them in between, but we're going to do 35, and then I think the cornbread's done. It's got 1 minute left. Oh, done. Look at that. It's a little bit more golden than I usually have it, but delicious. And the house smells so good. Does it smell good, kids? Mm-hmm. My kids are like ready. They're ready to eat. A little behind, like I said today, so I'm gonna get the chickens about done too in the Instant Pot. I just did some zesty barbecue chicken. I'm gonna get dinner on plates for them, and then when I cut into that, I'm gonna share what that looks like. And when the brownies are out of the oven, I'm gonna share what that looks like. And then when dinner mess is cleaned up, things are a little bit more calmed down for the night, we're going to get into the other 3 dry mixes. Be a little noisy in here because everyone is running up here to eat now from playing. So I am just going to get this sliced up. And it cuts beautifully. Oh, this is so good, especially with some honey on it. It is absolutely delicious. It's almost like a dessert, to be honest. So I'm gonna get this sliced up, served up on plates, and I will show you what the inside looks like. But this buttermilk cornbread has been a recipe I found, I don't even know, years and years ago. Oops, that was a little crooked. That's what I get for looking at my camera instead of what I'm doing. But anyway, it is just an absolutely delicious recipe I stumbled on, and I've been making it since, and it is so yummy. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this served up on a plate, and look at that. Oh my goodness. absolutely smells like, it smells so good, you guys. Look at that inside, you guys. This is so delicious. I really hope you give this a try. Follow the measurements down in the description box below if you need a smaller amount, but this cornbread is a family's favorite, and we do this with chili. It's delicious with chili, and then put a little bit of, oh my gosh, cowboy candy on it or honey. It's just so good. And I'm going to take some of our homemade honey from our honeybees. They're actually the ones who made it, but this is our honey from our bees. And this is, by the way, absolutely just to die for, this combination. Oh my gosh, you guys. And it's sweet enough. Like, the cornbread tastes like a dessert. It's so sweet. But that honey on top, you guys. Okay, real quick before we get to eating. Perfect. Absolutely delicious. I hope you guys give this a try. It is so good. You would not be disappointed. Okay, you guys, it's after dinner. The rush is over with for the day. I think everyone's unwinding and calling it a night, hopefully. So, while we were eating, these got done out of the oven. The bottom's still really hot, but I'm going to turn my lid on in a minute. They smell so good, so good. And the buttermilk cornbread was delicious with dinner. So we decided we're going to have those for a snack tomorrow, just because it got a little bit too late and everyone's kind of getting unwound for the night and settling in. So they'll have that for a snack tomorrow, but I am going to cut into it just to show you what it looks like. Okay, so just to cut a little bit of a corner piece. This is really hard to do holding a phone. Hold on. Okay, so my problem was they were actually still a little bit too warm, so I had to let them cool a little bit longer. But absolutely moist, delicious, fudgy inside, and the regular like flaky top. This is the part that actually crumbled apart because it was a little bit too hot to cut into. But as you can see, really moist. And absolutely delicious. I did try a little piece, but absolutely delicious. And there you go. I was able to cut a piece out. I'm going to set this aside for Mike for whenever he gets home from work. Okay, so the next thing we are going to make, I have a piece of hair sticking out. The next thing we're going to make is our pancakes. So I am going to actually do just a small batch. I think I usually do 3 cups of the dry mix and 3 cups of water, with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. But because, I mean, technically whatever I make, I'm just going to throw in the fridge for tomorrow morning. So I'm just going to do a half batch of that. So usually, once again, I do 3 cups water, 3 cups dry mix, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and that makes about 12 to 13 pancakes. Like, not big, not small, like medium sized. But I'm just going to do a small batch to show you guys. So I'm going to do 1.5 cups powder, and then about 1.5 cups of water. Now, if you like a thinner pancake, then stick to these amounts. If you like a thicker pancake batter, then I would do 3 cups dry and 2.5 water, and go from there and just add it until you reach a consistency you like. And I'm going to add in 1/2 teaspoon. Like, the kids settle down for the night and then the animals go nuts. I can't catch a break. My cats are ridiculous at night, to be quite honest. But it's that hour. It's that time of night. So that's what I've done, and that's all you have to add. You can add egg. I'm trying to avoid my huge, monstrous, bright light. As you can see, it reflecting off everything. It's not even aimed at me. So hopefully it's not too dim in here, but it was just way too bright. It was way too bright. It was reflecting off everything. So anyway, I'm just going to mix this up. You can add an egg. Sometimes I'll add 1 egg to that. That just gives it, I think, a little bit fluffier of a pancake. You don't have to though. So this is a great mix, like if you're going camping or you just don't want to deal with extra parts to it. So you can add an egg. You don't have to add an egg. I have my cast iron heated up on the stove with some butter in it. So let's go ahead and get some of these pancakes into the cast iron. Okay, so I got my batter over here, and my cast iron, I believe, is heated enough. Don't mind, I do need to re-season my cast iron, and I think I'm going to be doing that. I didn't actually mix it very well on the bottom. I think I'm going to be doing that sometime soon. So there we go. I'm just going to plop some of that in the butter. Like I said, I do need to re-season it. So I have this over about medium-low, more towards low heat. My stovetop is a mess. I'm not cleaning it until I'm done everything in here. So this is from all day. But anyway, I'm going to wait for that to bubble. Okay, and after about 2 to 3 minutes, like I said, on medium-low, it is starting to form bubbles on the top. So I am going to go ahead and flip this. I think it's probably ready to flip. Yep. Perfect golden color. And it smells really yummy too. So this is not like a gourmet style pancake because I have like 5 different pancake recipes and some are just ridiculous. The tedious steps to them, and they're like perfect fluffy pancakes, all different types. This one, it's fluffy, if you can tell. It's got some height to it. It is fluffy on the inside. This, however, gives it like really nice crisp edges. So this is all crisp. I know I'm like touching it. It's really hot. That's all nice and crisp. And then it's like really soft in the middle. So I'm going to give this about 20 more seconds. All right, you guys, there's the other side of it. So it is still hot to the touch, but like I said, nice crisp edges, soft inside, and really quick to whip up. Your kids could mix this up really quickly. I'm going to cut a little bit into this just to show you what it looks like. And yes, I have chipped dishes. We have 8 kids. It happens. So I do know. But anyway, nice fluffy pancake. It's buttery, it's yummy, and I think you guys would enjoy having this on your shelf to have something convenient to grab on the mornings where you just don't have time to cook. Okay, next up we are going to do our buttermilk biscuits. So what I did is I preheated the oven to 425 degrees, and I have my buttermilk biscuit container right here, and it says 2 1/4 cup of mix. So problem is I needed to make my buttermilk, and I have it in my 1 cup measurement. So I'm going to take my 1/2 cup measurement right here, and I'm going to do 2 cups with that. So 1/2, 1, 1/2, 2, and then, because I told you my 1/4 cup's still missing, I'm going to, I don't think a little bit is going to matter, but I'm going to do, there we go, 1/4 cup. So there's our 2 1/4 cups of our buttermilk biscuit dry mix. And then to that, I'm actually, for the sake of time, I have my little hand pastry cutter utensil, whatever you would call it. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to use my food processor for the sake of time. And then I'm going to need 7 tablespoons of unsalted butter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All you're going to do is just cut that up into chunks, and you want really cold butter. So I just pulled this out of the fridge, and I'm just going to chunk it up a bit. And then I'm going to, and my hands are washed, by the way. I don't always, sometimes I just pause the video and wash in between, and I never say anything, but I did wash my hands. So I'm going to go ahead and put the chunks in here, and we're just going to pulse this until it resembles some coarse crumbs. And that should be good. I conveniently have my KitchenAid bowl right here. So what I'm going to do is get this off, and I'm going to dump this mix into my mixing bowl. And I actually have just a little bit, I don't have my spatula, but just gonna scrape that off real quick and get all that flour mix into my bowl. I'll mess with that later. I just popped the whole top off. So what I have over here is 3/4 cup of buttermilk. I took 1 tablespoon of vinegar and 1 cup of milk. So I actually have a little bit more. I have 1 full cup here. So I'm going to take my 1/2 cup. And first I'm going to actually grab a spatula right here. All right, and I've got my tripod angled really strategically right now to try and get you guys looking into my bowl. It only adjusts so many ways. So I'm gonna kind of make a little bit of a well into the center of this. I don't know, I'm scared to move it and the whole thing fall, but we'll leave it like that. So I just have a well that I made into the middle, and I'm going to start measuring out this buttermilk. So like I said, I need 3/4 cup, and this is a 1/2 cup. So I'm going to put 1/2 cup in, and then 1/4. And what we're going to do, and there's my oven, it's preheated, is we are just going to stir this up until it is pretty much combined. You want it all to be moistened, and we're going to be rolling it out, patting it out on our countertop. So doesn't have to be perfect, but as you can see, that's just enough to moisten it. It's still going to be a little bit crumbly, but that is where our kneading comes into place next. So kind of just pressing it down, getting all those loose crumbs together, and then we're going to plop this out on the counter. Okay, so what we're going to do is plop this out onto the counter, and I just wiped my counter down one more time and washed my hands. Took my ring off because I really don't want all this in that. Actually, it's like really wet right there, but it's gonna all combine. So what we're going to do is take this and kind of shape it into a rectangle a little bit. Okay. And once you have a kind of rectangular shape, you are going to take it and fold it into thirds. Like I said, it's going to be crumbly. I'm trying to show you and not block, but it is going to be crumbly, and just once you fold it into thirds, you're going to flatten it back out into a rectangle again, so you can just kind of incorporate all the crumbs that are on the counter. And then once again, we're going to fold into thirds. So there's 1, 2, and then we're going to do that one more time. So I'm actually going to flip it over because that side's more wet than the other side, I think. So flatten it back out into a rectangular shape. And then we're going to fold it over into thirds again. So there we go. And you can see that it's a little bit thick. So what we're going to do is get a rolling pin out. All right, hang on. Kids are moving stuff on me. Okay, so we're going to get our rolling pin out, and we are going to roll this out to about 1/2 inch thick. Kind of just like that. All right. Okay, like I said, I really need to season my cast iron pans here. So I have my cast iron ready, You can totally use a cookie sheet or a cookie tray to make these. I'm just going to see if I can fit it in here. Usually I use much more of this in the ratios, and I'll share that. Like I said, I'll be more specific with you guys in the description, so you have that to fall back on as well. But I just wanted to make a one size batch for you guys because not everybody needs to make copious amounts of food. So I have a 2.5-inch biscuit cutter, and what I'm going to do is start at the edge and plop them into this cast iron. And you want to try and not have scraps left. Biscuits are kind of funny. You can certainly make, biscuits with the scraps, but with biscuits, you don't want to handle the dough too much. So just try your best to look where the curves are and see where you can make another one, even if you have to press it together, just because. I'm actually glad I caught that. My camera had stopped filming. I don't know why. I'm not out of space. So I did switch cast irons. This is the one I made pancakes with, and I definitely needed some more room. So I'm going to move you guys closer just a little bit. I think this size should do just fine, and I'm going to have a little bit of scrap left, but let's see. Yeah, this is actually not going to make another, so I am going to kind of just press these scraps together a little bit, kind of pinch and tuck a little bit, and there we go. So we have another biscuit right here. This one's just going to be a little bit taller. Okay, so I have room for all of them. I'm going to cram this one in the middle. We'll see how it goes. It will work. It will work, you guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to press my thumb a little bit into these. And I'm going to take that extra buttermilk that I had over here, and I'm just going to brush and coat the tops of these with some buttermilk. And that's going to help give it a nice golden shiny color. You don't have to go too overboard with it. Just kind of brushing it along the tops. And then our oven, I believe, is finally preheated to 425 degrees. So that is ready for these to go in. I'm going to put those in. Usually I do 15 minutes. I'm going to actually start checking mine at 13 minutes. So 425 degrees for about 13 to 15 minutes. Because some of those are overlapping a little bit, that's why I'm going to take a peek and just make sure everything's cooking through evenly. So that usually makes 12, but for me this time that made 10. So I feel like it's kind of like with cookies when you double a recipe and it's like, okay, usually I get a dozen, but I have a different amount. So I'm going to put my measuring cups in the sink, get these dishes washed up, and then I'm going to bring you back our last final dry mix, which is going to be our Belgian waffles. Okay, last but not least, we're going to get some waffles made up. So we're going to start with 3 cups of waffle mix. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And to that, we are going to be adding 2 cups of milk. And I actually am running out of measuring cups. Let's do our 2 cups of milk. We're going to go ahead and pour that in. And then we are also going to be adding in oil, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. Now, I am not a fan of vegetable oil, and I am actually cutting out a lot of oils, especially seed oils. But this is the last little bit I have, and that is what this recipe originally calls for. So I'm going to have to play around with other oils I can use, but we're going to finish up with our 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. And then to that, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I have a 1/2 teaspoon, so we're going to do 1/2. And then we're going to do 1. And then we're going to take 2 eggs. I just washed these eggs up. We're going to take 2 eggs, and what we're going to do is separate them. So this is the only like little tedious step here that we have going on. So we're going to separate our egg white from our egg yolk. So we're going to put the whites in the bowl, and then the yolk actually can go straight into the mix. I'm going to save my eggshells, and then once again do the same thing. Egg yolk stays in the shell. There we go. And I don't know why I dropped it in here. It was supposed to go in here. So our 2 egg yolks are in here, and then our egg whites are in here. Okay, I brought my light over, but it might be a little bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to whisk up these egg whites on high. I don't have any more mixing bowls, so hopefully this works, until it forms stiff peaks. I totally forgot I had biscuits in the oven. So I am going to blend this until there's stiff peaks, and I'll bring you right back. And as you can see, we have stiff peaks that have formed. We're now going to whisk together our mix with the egg yolks and the dry mix and the vanilla extract and the oil. And once we have that whisked together, there might be a few little lumps, but that's okay. We're going to whisk that till it's all incorporated. And as soon as that is whisked together, we're going to take this out. We're going to take our egg whites, and you're going to gently fold them into the mixture. And you're just going to do that until it is combined into your batter. And this is actually going to make them really nice and airy. And it's worth the extra step, I promise. Otherwise, I would not be doing it. But once you already have your dry mix measured out, ready to go, and together, it's really easy because there's not as many steps. So that is all there is to it. And I just wanted to show you these biscuits. They are done. They are a nice golden brown. Actually, I feel like my lighting is making them look a little too golden. Nice golden brown, and they're absolutely delicious. If you guys like biscuits and gravy, it is really nice to have these made up ahead of time. It's one less step, so you can make them the night before, and that's probably what I'm going to do tonight, is just have these ready to go for breakfast in the morning. Okay, now our waffle machine is preheated, so I am going to scoop some of this in. It is ready to go. We're going to scoop that in, and then I'm going to flip it and put some in this side. Hopefully I didn't overfill it because I lost my scoop. We actually used it for my espresso machine, and it's been missing since. So I will bring you back as soon as this is done. All right, so our waffles are done. And they're hot, but look at that. It smells so good. And the touch of cinnamon on this, it's absolutely delicious. We're going to flip this over. Look at that. Let's bring it over to the counter. Look at that beautiful golden color, even out from under my bright cabinet lighting. It is gorgeous. These are so delicious. My kids love these, and they're going to be happy to see that this is probably going to be breakfast tomorrow. We have a mix of all different types of foods right now to go through. All right, you guys, well, this was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's getting a little late in the evening right now, so I'm going to get some dishes done, swap some laundry, wipe my counters down, and get the rest of this waffle batter in the fridge for tomorrow morning. So my kids will be really happy that they're going to be having pancakes and waffles for breakfast in the morning and some biscuits. It's going to be a buffet style breakfast, I think. So I hope this video was helpful. If you guys watched my first video, which was my dry mix recipes, I'm going to label that one part 1 and label this one part 2. But I hope it's helpful, not only seeing the dry mixes and how to measure that out, but also seeing what the product actually looks like. And I think that's huge to see how it all comes together, because some things actually, like my brownie recipe, actually you usually melt butter in the pan. And okay, let's try this again. I had an important call. I didn't realize that was my IAR app going off and somebody was not breathing. So we're going to try this again. I had fun. This was a really fun video to do with you guys, and I appreciate you guys hanging out this long. I hope this video was helpful in seeing all these things made up from the dry ingredients to this. I'm going to leave down in the description box below everything that you'll need to know. I'm also going to put the original recipe down there in case you want to try it for yourself first and see if you actually like it before you go making large amounts of it. So hopefully that will be helpful to you guys. It is late. It is now well after midnight, and my husband wants me to go to bed. So I am going to get myself cleaned up. I'll do the dishes in the morning, and I'm going to go to bed. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you have not yet subscribed, I would greatly appreciate if you guys would click that subscribe button on the way out and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss any new videos coming out. I'm going to bed. I will see you guys on the next video. Until then, take care and God bless. Then, oh my God. Uh-oh. Well, that's really not cool. So I had chicken scraps the other night when I freeze-dried my celery and canned corn and shoved them in my oven. And I preheated my oven. Oh my gosh. That's where they went, Grace.